So a few weeks ago, or actually it was several months ago, I think about 2 months ago, I was contacted by Sigma Makeup and they wanted to send me some of their brushes to try out. Didn't pay for these brushes, but I am going to just give you my honest review of them, some pros and cons of the brushes, and then you can make hopefully an informed decision if you do want to go ahead and make a purchase. So I was sent quite a few things, as I said. I'm not going to review everything in like super detail because I'd just be sitting here for like an hour. But I'll give you an overview. The first thing I was sent is the Sigma Complete Kit with the brush roll. I believe you can buy these kits without the brush roll, but I'll have to check up on the website for you for that. So they come in this synthetic material brush roll, and I'm sure you guys have seen these many times. And then the brushes are in here. And this is the complete kit, and currently this retails at $99 US on the site. You get a powder brush, you get a dual fiber stippling brush, a contouring brush, foundation. This is an angled liner, like a large shading brush on your eye, an angled eyeshadow brush. This is supposed to be a concealer. This is a flat shading brush, a blending brush, like a rounded blending brush right here. This is, I think, an eyeliner or something, and a rounded pencil brush. Now, these brushes have changed their numbering. They used to be numbered exactly the same as the MAC brushes, except instead of calling it the MAC 187, it would be like the SS 187, because I think the company is wanting to get away from comparisons with MAC brushes. But the truth of the matter is that these brushes still are complete copies of MAC, in the sense that, you know, a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of the brushes you can find exact versions of those from MAC. But I do not think that they are MAC dupes. And a dupe for me is basically you can use one brush from one company and it gives you the exact same results as the brush from the other company, and I do not agree with that. I think this would be a really good set for beginners because it does give you a lot of the brushes that are, you know, very necessary for basic use. Like, you know, it gives you powder brushes, some blush brushes, foundation, some very basic eye brushes. And these are actually the brushes I think that I used quite a bit. Second kit that was sent to me is called the Premium Professional Kit, and this one retails for $149 on the website. And I'm missing, you get these brushes plus one more brush, which I just cannot for the life of me find anymore. I don't know where it is exactly. I'm sure it'll turn up, but you get all these brushes and you also get one more brush, like a large kind of powder brush with it. So this is kind of more unique brushes, I think, that are kind of more used on a more advanced level, like sort of more tapered brush like this, like a tapered dome. You get, this is like a copy of the MAC 226, which was a limited edition release, and it has that sort of very tapered head. You get the 217 dupe, the MAC 217 dupe, so I use this one quite a bit. You also get one of these like smudgers. So you can look at the site and look at all the individual brushes to see exactly, you know, which ones you get with it. Now, my overall thoughts on the brush rolls is that I do like the combination of brushes that they have put together with each of the sets. The thing I will say though is about the professional kit that they've made, which is a bit the more expensive one. I was really missing in this kit a basic shader brush, like the one that you get in the normal one, in the complete kit. You get the basic flat shader, and this is, I think, a brush that should be included in all the major brush rolls, because this is for me, this is the most essential brush that you're going to need in makeup for eyeshadow. And there's not really any kind of brush like this in the professional set. I mean, you do have some eyeshadow brushes in here, but actually none of these are very good for just basic application of packing on color. And I think that is one major drawback of this roll, because if you just buy this kit and you don't have any other brushes, you're still gonna have to go out and buy a flat shader brush, because I think, like, especially if you're learning how to do makeup, you need a brush like this. 217 dupe, which looks like that. Mine's a little bit dirty. I mean, I cleaned it, but it's just I need to wash it properly with shampoo. But this is a very, very good dupe of the MAC 217. This is one of the brushes that I think they did a very good job on copying. This is the actual MAC brush, and this is the 217 dupe. So the 217 is a very, very good replica of the 217 by MAC. So that one I think they did very good job on. However, some of the other brushes that they tried to kind of copy from MAC I think are not as successful. For example, the tapered face, which is that kind of dome shaped brush. I know MAC released one like this, I think limited edition, a few times, and I don't have the MAC one, but I do have this one by Hakuhodo, which is similar. The Hakuhodo one is just a bit rounder, but it has a sort of more pointier edge at the top, so there you can see those. And this one from Sigma I don't think is a very good kind of brush of this type. It's just not very, it's not very resilient. Like when you push it, it really gives. And so when you're trying to apply like precise blush, that doesn't really work. The tip of this brush just kind of flops around, versus the one by Hakuhodo, which I love to use for precise blush application, and this one is very like resilient. The 168 copy, which is that angled contouring brush, I just don't like this brush very much because I find the hair is just, I don't know, the hair is just, it doesn't feel very dense. When I do compare that to the MAC 168, like this one is just a lot fuller, it's a lot thicker, and especially for contouring you do need something that is quite resilient, and this one just isn't as resilient. So I think the brushes that are kind of copies of MAC brushes, they're kind of hit and miss, to be honest. Like some of them are very good, and some of them I just really do prefer the MAC ones. Another one that I really did not like from Sigma is the Duo Fiber, and this is one of those brushes that for me is an absolutely essential brush, and I do have several different versions of Duo Fiber brushes. This is the MAC version and this is the Sigma one. The handles of the Sigma brushes are also a little bit longer, just so something that you should note. In general, the brush handles are longer from Sigma. Now, probably on camera they do look very, very similar, but I think the main difference that you'll find with these brushes is that the MAC one is again much denser, has more hair in it, is more resilient. So especially for stippling, if you use this for applying your foundation or for just stippling on products like this, the MAC one does an excellent job because it does have quite a bit of resistance, versus the one from Sigma, which is just, I mean, it's nice as well. It's better than the one from like Crown Brush or like Coastal Scents, but it's just not quite as resilient, I think. And the other thing I've noticed is with the Sigma dual fiber brushes, like the ones that have the white and the black hairs, when you wash these with shampoo, the color, the black dye bleeds into the white, and that is something again that doesn't happen with my MAC brushes because I think the dye is just maybe, I don't know, better quality dye or something. So when they're drying, sometimes you'll notice that the dye, the black dye, goes into the white bristles. So the pencil brush I wanted to mention, this was another brush that I was quite disappointed by. This is the one that I thought was going to be like a really good copy of the MAC 219 pencil brush. This is the MAC one, this is the Sigma, and I thought, okay, these are going to be perfect. These are going to be like a good dupe. And for me, the Sigma one is, I barely reach for this. This one is just much more resilient because when you, especially when you're blending out eyeliner, which is what I use this a lot for, on the lower on the top and lower lash line, I like to use pencil brushes to blend out my eyeliner, and this one just is not resilient enough. It just doesn't blend because it just, there's not enough resilience. So when you put the brush over, it just kind of, it just doesn't blend out the pencil. So I reach for the MAC one a lot more, or my Hakuhodo one, just because they are stiffer. Now I've sent a few other single brushes by Sigma to try out. One of them, or I've sent a couple of these dual fibers, which I think are just very similar as the other dual fibers I've showed you, and I've already kind of told you the pros and cons of these. I was sent the dual fiber F50. I don't know if this is like a travel edition or something because it's a little bit shorter. And I was also sent the F55, which is just a smaller, more precise head, I guess. So you could use this for highlighting. And again, the same kind of issue. They're just not as resilient. They don't have very much resistance, especially the F55. It's just kind of floppy. So I'm not overall too crazy about the dual fiber brushes from Sigma. I was also sent the small contour, which I guess is the copy of the MAC 109, and this brush I really do like. This is a very good copy again. I think they did a good job of replicating it. It's quite dense. You can use this for contouring. You could even use this for highlighting. I was also sent the Kabuki, their version of the Kabuki, which is the F45 buffer brush. And I think this is a medium quality kabuki. It is nice, soft. It is nice and soft. You know, you could definitely use this for face powder. You know, if you use blot powder or just, you know, if you use mineral foundation, this would definitely do the job perfectly fine. But in comparison to the MAC 182, I believe, which is here. Mine was the limited edition one, so the handle's different, but you can get the regular one still at MAC. So in comparison to the MAC one, I would definitely prefer the MAC one because, again, much denser hair, a lot more hair. I'd say 1.5 the amount of hair that is in this one. I don't know if I can show you. The MAC one is just super dense. You see, like, it doesn't even squish together versus the Sigma one, which just flattens right out. Okay, so you can kind of see the density of the brush, and again, this one is just a lot not as sturdy. You see, like, it just moves more versus the MAC one, which just kind of stays in place. I don't know if I don't know if I can really show you this on camera, but once you feel these brushes, you can definitely tell a difference. I do think this is a good kabuki just for, like, you know, basic things, but if you're looking for ultra dense, beautiful brush, I definitely prefer the MAC one. And the last brush that I wanted to talk about is the flat top synthetic kabuki, which was sent to me as well. And I think that you can buy these separately or individually. You don't have to buy these in a brush roll. And this brush I really like. This is a really good brush. I have been using this for foundation, and it's completely replaced all my other foundation brushes. I used to apply my foundation with like a dual fiber brush like this and just kind of swirl it everywhere, and this just gives me much better results. It just gives a flawless finish. My skin looks airbrushed if you apply this properly. There's no streaking whatsoever, and because it is synthetic fiber, it doesn't soak up as much product as a natural bristle brush would. So for foundation, this is an awesome brush, and I highly recommend this. So if you're just, you know, if you're looking for just to buy like one brush from Sigma, I would get this one for foundation because these are awesome. So of course the prices of the brushes are quite competitive. I mean, for $99 you get quite a few brushes in the complete kit, and if you spend a bit more, I think at around $150 or so, or whatever I said before, or $149, or so yeah, about $150, you get additional brushes. Now the drawback of buying these kind of larger sets is that when you buy a set like this, usually there's brushes in here that you're going to absolutely love and use all the time, and then there's going to be brushes in here that you absolutely have no use for. So for me, like the brushes that were in the Pro kit, like this one, the concealer, I just really don't like concealer brushes like this, so I have no use for this one. Also, which one did I not use? The large concealer, again, I just don't like brushes like this for concealer, so again, have no use for this brush. This one I've used a few times, but I just don't really see myself reaching for this. This is the flat definer. So that's how it is with all kind of brush kits. You're going to have some brushes that you think are absolutely great and you're going to use a lot, and then others that you're just never going to get use out of. So that's something you want to consider when you buy a larger brush kit like this, is think about how much use are you going to get out of each individual brush. For beginners, I would probably recommend to go with the complete kit, just because I think that if you have no brushes whatsoever, or you have like one brush and that's it, this kit offers you the essential brushes that everybody needs. You know, it's going to give you the flat shader, it's going to give you an angled liner, it's going to give you some powder blushes, foundation brush, it's going to give you a pencil brush. So I think for complete beginners, this kit is better. And if you already do have a lot of brushes in general, like if you've bought a lot of individual brushes, like myself, I built up my collection brush by brush. I've never bought a brush set before. So you know, each brush purchase that I made was really something I thought about a lot before I went ahead and bought it. Of course, that's a more expensive route. If you buy brush by brush, that ends up working out to a lot more than just buying brush kits. But the advantage of buying brush by brush is that each brush that you buy, you're probably going to get a lot of use out of, and it's something that you probably really thought about. Most people don't make rash brush purchases because the brushes are expensive. So yeah, if you already do have a lot of brushes, the Pro Kit, I would really think about it if you're actually going to use all the brushes that are in there, because you might only use a few of them very frequently, and in that case it might actually work out cheaper if you buy them individually. And you know, some of them are just not as good quality as MAC or other brands. The Premium Kit is the kind of one I was very interested in, and the one that I think had a lot of hit and miss brushes in it. And the last thing I just wanted to quickly address is people who say that these are exact dupes of MAC, and that you can know, instead of buying MAC you should just buy Sigma. Usually I've found that people who have made reviews like that, they probably don't own a lot of MAC brushes. Maybe they've bought like one MAC brush and then they get the Sigma and they think, oh, these are exactly the same. But if you already own a lot of MAC brushes or other brands, like I have a lot of brushes from Hakuhodo which are like awesome, then you're going to notice a difference. And I think most people probably won't notice the difference because maybe they don't have so many brushes to begin with, and for them a set like this is completely adequate and they'll probably never buy a brush for the rest of their life. But for professional makeup artists or people who really enjoy, you know, the quality of very high quality brushes, you're definitely going to notice a difference. And that's why I always say to people, if you want the certain quality of a certain brand, then you're going to have to bite the bullet and spend money on that. So if you want to buy MAC quality brushes, you're going to have to splurge on MAC prices. If you want to buy Hakuhodo quality brushes, you're going to have to splurge on Hakuhodo brushes. And with the Sigma brushes, you're going to get that quality of that brand. So they're not the highest quality and they're not the worst quality. I think they're a good medium quality brush for, I think, quite competitive prices. So I think that's, yeah, my fair overview of them. You know, I'm not trying to diss Sigma. I think, like I said, some of the brushes are very good. Some of them are hit and miss. I don't think the quality overall is comparable to MAC. The last thing that I always get questions about is shedding. I didn't notice a lot of shedding with the Sigma. I think the shedding was quite average. I mean, all brushes shed a little bit. I mean, that would be kind of strange if a brush didn't shed at all. So none of them really shed like a ton. I did notice bleeding of the dyes, like I said, when I do wash them with shampoo, and the fiber brushes do still bleed after washing them several times. So yeah, that's kind of my overview of Sigma and the pros and cons of the brushes. If you are interested in making a purchase, I'm going to have a link to their website below this video. You can check them out and, you know, you can read a bit more about the company and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that review and I will see you guys very soon. Bye bye.